Good afternoon, guys. I wanted to circle back with our foam rolling videos. Today we're going to focus on the anterior leg, or the front portion of our legs, with our quad muscles, which is one of the groups that we're going to focus on today. I'm going to bring a lot at you guys today. Our quad groups are going to start at our hip bones, and they're going to go up and over our kneecaps. Now, of course, we never roll over our knee, so we're going to stop rolling our quads about 2 inches or so just north of the kneecap there. Anatomy that I want you to be aware of is the 2 different hip points that we're going to reference. So if you put your hands on your natural waist and push down, that bone that you're going to be pushing into here towards the front of the hip is your Anterior Superior Iliac Spine, or we call that ASIS. That's your first hip bone. If you go about 2 inches below that and do just kind of a hip thrust forward, that lower portion that you feel push into your fingers is going to be your Anterior Inferior Iliac Spine. So 2 bumps that I want you to be aware of on those hips, okay? So ASIS, AIIS, and of course our knee. So that is our anatomy for the quads. Some of your quad muscles come up and they cross that joint. When we talk about our tensor fasciae lata, or our TFL muscle, we're going to be focusing here more to the side, more lateral. And I want you to be aware again of that iliac crest, which is that hip bone that you feel towards the back of your pelvis. So if you need to put your hands on your hips and feel kind of those different bony landmarks on your hips, that's where we're going to be focusing today. Here around the hip, down the quad, we're going to talk about IT band. Your IT band is a thick band of fascia that kind of comes up the side of your femur here. And all it is a really thick band of connective tissue. If you've ever seen folks with really well-defined quads, but they've got that really thick line going up the side, that is a stuck down IT band. So we're going to be talking about that, TFL, quads. We're also going to be doing adductors today, which is going to be your inner thigh. And lastly, what I'm going to cover is your tibia anterior. So if you've got your shin bone here, tibia anterior is just to the side. So if you were to pull your toes to your nose and put your hand on that shin bone, you can feel that muscle contract as it lifts your toes to your nose. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the front of the ankle, okay? So to get started, things to talk about before we hop on the foam roller. My legs, as I've said before, are really tender, so I'm going to more of a basic roller. I definitely suggest start with less and then work your way up to something that's a little bit more aggressive, like the heavy treaded roller that's got the grids on it. Another key point to take away, if you have varicose veins, which tend to be a little bit more prominent on the front side of the legs, don't roll over those, okay? I do have a couple on the side of my IT band, so we're going to talk about how to roll over those. I will not be demonstrating that. That's also something that you could take a hand tool and do with a lighter pressure. So let's go ahead and do our quads. I'm going to give myself some space here so that I can stay in the camera view. What we're going to do first for our quads is we are going to kind of bridge ourselves over the foam roller, keeping the foam roller closer to those hip bones. So right now I'm kind of evenly distributed. My weight is on my elbows and my weight is on my toes. When we go to push forward, you can either army crawl or kind of transfer your weight back and forth between your elbows and those toes. And what you're doing is you're getting just that medial portion right up that femur bone of those quad muscles. And again, you can walk it out a little bit more. You can do a pelvic tuck if that helps you complete a roll. Again, we're only doing about 3 to 4 inches at a time. And then lastly, getting close to that knee joint. Okay. So with those quad muscles, again, the quads are made up of 4 muscles. You've got 2 that come right up the center, 1 that comes more lateral to the side, and 1 that comes more medial. So just like in our hamstring video, what you can do with your quads is shift your body weight either to the side or more towards the middle to try to get the different types of fibers that you've got in those different muscle tissues. So if we wanted to get something that's more lateral, what I would do is 1 leg at a time, not quite onto my IT band, Still on the quad, but I am now more towards the outside without being completely on the side of that leg. And for me, that is way more tender. If we wanted to get more medial, I would pull my leg up. We're going to rotate that foam roller here, and we're going to get into those adductors. With the adductors, I'm only going to go as close as to a palm to my pelvis, and I'm going to get within a couple inches of my knee joint. And again, I'm just kind of flopping my leg out to the side and using my body to kind of roll back and forth. So that's our adductors. Great. Now to get tibia anterior, again, if you have any kind of vein issues or any kind of trouble with pain in your lower legs, you might want to skip this one. What we're going to do is bring our shins onto that foam roller. This is going to take a little bit of skill here to balance yourself up onto that. I am allowing that foam roller to roll more so on the muscle than on my shin bone. And it feels divine. And I'm just using my hands to kind of push me across that foam roller, coming up towards my knee joint and back down. A really great junction to roll is going to be the front of the ankle. This is more of a stretch than a roll. With this, you can wag your hand or your feet side to side. You can kind of do a little knee march, which pushes that ankle over that foam roller. Or what you can do is put more so your toes on that roller and simply sit back. Now what this does is this gives you a really nice stretch in the front of that ankle, and you would hold that for about 20 seconds. Great. Lastly, what we're going to do is our IT band and TFL. Now again, I'm not going to be rolling my IT band because I do have some vein issues here, but I am going to do TFL, which is up where our hip flexors all attach. So for TFL, if you think about jeans from the early 90s where they've got the regular pocket but the little coin pocket that never served a purpose, that's kind of right where TFL lives. So right in here, if I've got my ASIS, my AIIS, it's right in between those, and just back a little bit from that too. So I'm going to take the foam roller off to the side. I'm only going to be using the corner here. We'll make sure I'm turned so you can see it. I'm going to put that foam roller right where those bones are. And all I'm going to do, right now it's kind of nice, my foot is kind of pushing off the baseboard. And that's allowing me to get enough pressure into TFL for me to feel a release. Of course, we can do some cross fiber friction there, kind of shimmy our hips back and forth and roll up and down. Always remembering faster motion is going to be targeting muscle. Slower motion is going to be targeting fascia. Good. Now to get a little bit more lateral to that, I'm going to roll towards you. So towards my side that's down, which is my right side. That foam roller again is right in that kind of crook of my hip. This is a great area as well because this is where a lot of our glute muscles attach. And we can get a nice wag in there too. Now from here, what I would do if I was rolling my IT bands, I would continue laterally down the leg and doing one leg at a time, stopping within 2 to 3 inches of the knee joint. Again, IT band being more lateral. IT bands tend to be pretty tender, so please be aware of that when you roll. Hand tools are great as well if the actual roller is still too much for you on those IT bands. You guys have fun with it, and we've got one more video coming up. Probably sometime this weekend we're going to talk about how to foam roll for the chest and how to foam roll for the lats. Of course, any questions, just leave comments below. We'll see you soon.